I'll start off. Exciting week. Obviously, division opponent, playing the Titans down there in Nashville. I know it'll be electric down there. I know guys are fired up. Had good team meeting this morning, good offensive, defensive meetings. Preparing like crazy for these guys. It's a talented group, especially on both sides of the football. You look at their offense with Hopkins, been doing it for a long time. Getting Ridley, from Jacksonville, really good player. Pollard, good player. Boyd, good player. Quarterback, when he's got time back there, he can make all the throws. So it'll be a hell of a challenge. And then defensively, you look at what they got on defense. I think they're tops in a lot of categories defensively right now. Got a lot of respect for Denard. Was with Denard in Philly for a couple years. They're playing good football on defense. Simmons, he sets the tone up front for those guys, and Key and Landry on the outside are good rushers. Murray, linebacker inside, was with them at the Chargers. Hell of a football player. Diggs, veteran presence back there at the safety position, 10-year vet, been doing it for a long time. And then Snead, getting him from Kansas City. He's a hell of a football player too. So we got to prepare like crazy, get ready to roll, but I know our guys are excited for the challenge for sure.
Will AR, JT practice today?
JT will not. AR will be out there.
Limited full, or where's he at now?
He's going to be out there practicing. Yeah.
With JT, is that maybe more serious than initially thought at all? Or?
No, he's working through it. He's looking good. So we'll see how the week goes with him.
Okay.
Hopeful that he'll be out there. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Ryan Kelly going to practice today?
He will be out there, yes.
Was Anthony close to being your third quarterback at all Sunday, or was he not healthy enough for that?
Yeah, I didn't want to chance that with that. No.
I know you're on Tennessee at this point, but just when you look back at the defensive performance, just what were your guys' focus coming out of that game in terms of what you can fix?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit earlier on Monday is the explosive plays, right? They had some explosive plays there. There are about 4 of them, that you want back, and you can't take them back. So we got to get them corrected. Affecting the quarterback's a big part of it, and keeping the points down and playing together. And again, a lot of it too, it's fundamentals and technique, and it's not just the defense. It's all 3 phases. We got to play with fundamentals, technique. We got to be relentless in everything we do, and that's one of the pillars I believe in. We got to be relentless on how we meet and how we practice and how we walk through, and we got to have the mindset when we go out to practice like it's game day. We have that mindset every day, and you go into the games, you get in these fourth quarters, right? You got to have the mindset that you're going to go finish, and that's the emphasis this week.
Is that specifically, I think the tackle, it sounds like tackling too.
Yeah, we got to tackle too. Yep, we got to tackle. We got to get that cleaned up as well.
Shane, being a head coach, you know what it's like to be in those shoes, and so you know what it's like to play a team that has a quarterback deal like you've got right now. Is that how much of an impact does it make in your prep if the exact same thing was happening in Tennessee? They got a running quarterback, they got a passing quarterback, and you have no idea what's going to happen. What's that do to you if you were there?
Yeah, you got to prepare for both. That's part of the process, right? As a coach, there's unknowns, and you got to prepare. Whether it's the other guy or this guy, you got to have a plan for both, and that's the process you go through. And those are the meetings you have with the staff, talking about if this happens or that happens, how we're going to respond to it, what's our plan, and then we got to take action, when it does happen.
Shane, given the defensive struggles, do you spend more time with that group this week?
Yeah, I have conversations with Gus and the staff like every week. I meet with those guys every week.
More this week?
Yep, we talk a lot.
Shane, I know you mentioned a little bit, but some of these losses here, what is like the sense of urgency with this team right now to play the full game?
Yeah, there's urgency every week. There really is. I think, we talked about as the season gets going, you got to start kind of hitting your stride really October, going into November and December, so you can get hot there. And again, I got so much confidence in the guys in that locker room going forward. And the division games are a little bigger, right? It's just what it is. It's the NFL. You want to win championships, you got to win division games. And going on the road, having another division opponent, the urgency's there. You can feel it from the guys. Like I said, the meetings were great this morning. Looking forward to the walkthrough, looking forward to practice and going attacking this week.
Is this a matchup this defensive front can take advantage of, do you foresee?
Yeah, we look at all that stuff. If we have some matchups that we think we can win, obviously we got to put them in those situations to win those matchups, and it starts with us as coaches getting that done.
What do you think L'Jarius Sneed, obviously you're familiar with him, but just adds to that team and what type of player he is?
He's an aggressive corner. I mean, he'll get up and press. He's physical, at the point of attack. He stays in receivers' hips, so we got to do a great job of getting off press coverage and winning our one-on-ones this week for sure.
Been just 2 games back for Josh Downs, but what have you seen out of just the way that he's fit into this offense?
I mean, he's the ultimate pro. I mean, he does everything right. He does the treatment he gets, the way he works, what he brings to that receiver room is great. I mean, you can see what he's done in his first year and a half, how productive he's been. He's going to have a big-time career because of the way he works, his work ethic, the way he runs routes, the way he attacks every day. I mean, he's a huge asset to our football team.
And with players that hate to be pigeonholed, but Alec Pierce is he's a deep guy. What goes into allowing a guy to be that?
Well, I think he's got great speed. He's got great speed.
Is that where it starts?
Yeah, great speed. He's got great range. I mean, if you look around the league at some of these guys that are catching these deep balls, a lot of them are speed guys. But it does. It allows you to take the top off. But again, too, even with this speed, there is that intermediate threat too of like, shoot, am I always running deep? Oh, shoot, back up. Here comes 14, and the next thing you know, he does something else. So it definitely helps with the speed.
The height when he contested catches, and the one even in the sideline was.
Yeah, it was impressive as it gets. I mean, it was a hell of a catch, obviously, just with the tip and coming down and having that ball. And again, it's been, he's going into year 3, and he's made that jump, which is awesome to see for young players making that jump in year 3, just making all the catches, making all the big plays. And the biggest thing with him, he's been consistent doing it, and that's what we need.
Because I was going to say, the deep ball becoming like a hallmark of your offense here. I mean, are you seeing that translate into the coverages you're seeing?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. I think it depends on the D coordinator a little bit too. What's his mindset? What's his philosophy going into the game? I think credit to a lot of the defenses, in this league. Sometimes, adapting and certain looks and disguising certain things, whether they're playing shell and dropping down or playing man and mixing things up. It's part of it, and sometimes, I feel like back in the day, it was like, oh, shoot, we're getting this and this, here we go. And now it's just like, hey, we're going to Rolodex some things and make them think a little bit. So you got to run your base stuff, but obviously when you see something on tape, you got to try and attack it for sure.
The difference in defenses aside, it feels like the story this season has been that most NFL teams aren't throwing deep as much. You guys are. Is that just go to show that you can still find ways to get deep?
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for it. I mean, especially it's one of those things, right? You can have the shot called, but if you don't get the right coverage for it, you're going to have to check it down and move on in completions, and get the completions that you need. But I think everyone in the league is hunting the deep ball. They really are. Like, how do we find these explosives week in and week out? And if they give them to us, let's take them. But if not, we're going to have to check it down. So some games you might go into it with these shot plays up, and it's like, well, where were the explosives this week? Well, they didn't give them to us. That's part of it.
Part of getting those explosives is having good protection up front. To have Bortolini and Tucker be able to come in and still be able to hit some of those explosives, what does that say about just their level of play?
Yeah, it's been great. We talk about it in the team meetings all the time. It always starts like we want to hit these explosive plays. It always starts with the protection. We got to make sure we have a clean pocket to make sure we can get these things off. And the offensive line's been doing a hell of a job up front and getting that done.
Shane, how encouraged have you been with your offense, knowing the numbers they put up last week without AR, without JT?
Encouraged, very encouraged, but it's just like one of those things. Like our motto this year is like determination never rests. Like we can't rest in anything we do. We got to keep going and keep going and keep improving. Like whether you win or lose, right? There's always stuff to clean up, right? It's constructive criticism, it's accountability, and that's what we're all about. And like, how do we be our very best every single day going into Sunday? And whether we win, shoot, it can't just be like, all right, yeah, good job. All right, now on to the next one. It's like, oh no, good job. Here's the stuff we did really well, but here's the stuff we need to clean up. So it's a constant, determination of getting better.
Might be a silly question, but just to get it, out there, is Will Fries out for the season?
Yeah, there's a good chance of that, yeah. Yeah.
Is Dalton Tucker your starting right guard going forward?
Dalton's done a good job for us, but I won't get into who's starting.
Shane, I know it was just briefly, but when Anthony was last out there, he played very well. Did you see tangible strides from what he had done in September where he had struggled a bit?
Absolutely. I mean, that Pittsburgh game, he started off on fire, and then obviously got dinged up. So it's like, it's tough because you're like, man, who knows what would have happened that game, So, he's been attacking it. And like I said, shoot, we'll see how the week goes. But if he's ready to go and he feels good and the doctors feel good about it, he'll be out there.
Shane, why is that? Why was he so effective in those two drives there?
He was just, I don't know, he went out and played good. You know what I mean? We were executing, and the offensive line was blocking well. He was making good throws. You start off with the chunk play right there, hit a big one to Pitt, and then we started rolling. And then he had the QB run that popped for, 25, and that's just how it went.
What did you think of Joe Flacco's 21-yard run?
Yeah, he showed some wheels on that. It was good. It was good to see that he can still do it.
You can put more zone read in it just in case he's back in the.
Yeah, I think we might hold off. But hey, you never know. You never know.
It's on tape.
You never know.
Now that Joe has played a couple games, have you seen him and Anthony's relationship develop much? Because, I mean, obviously, Anthony got to pick Gardner's brain a lot last year.
Yeah, I think it's great to have, like we said before, to have that veteran presence in that room and those guys building that relationship on a daily basis in that QB meeting room. There's a lot of conversations that go on. Joe's got great wisdom, so it's been good to see.